We're there.
Look at all those dead buffalo. A crying shame.
Elko, Nevada, October 1st, 1868. An outlaw has killed a herd of buffalo, and the Native Americans are blaming our railroad. Your mission? Make peace with the Indians. Return to this page whenever you need help. Click on Exit to start your mission.
It's a teenage squaw, and she's hurt. Every young teenager performs a vigil as part of their journey into adulthood. This girl's on her spirit mission, but she hurt her ankle, and now she wants to know if I can help her finish the mission. It's a feather. If I touch the right animals with this feather, I'll discover the everlasting standing woman and the little man spirit, a rock. Voila! Now I can cross the creek. A water container. Alrighty, filled to the brim. Look, the train. Look, the train. It was derailed on purpose. The local tribe is blaming the railroad for... Look at all those dead buffalo. A crying shame. A standing buffalo. It's the everlasting standing woman. She says take this pine cone and use it to find the tree spirit. Trees! It's the tree spirit! He wants me to take this blue orb and give it to the squaw. It represents the bright blue sky and has healing powers. I can't go there. They're angry. I wonder if there's anybody else I can talk to. A crow! It's the little man spirit. A prairie flower, and he wants me to take it to the girl. It'll tell her the name of her firstborn son. The squaw! It worked! The blue orb healed the girl! Now she knows her firstborn son will be named Prairie Flower. We did it! We helped her on her spirit mission. Now she's off to the village. She says follow her. She'll introduce us to her father, the chief. A torch! The chief! He says he's grateful I helped his daughter. He is willing to offer forgiveness if I can show that I know how important the buffalo is to his people. He wants me to find 3 items made from buffalo and place them in the middle of the sacred Buffalo Rocks. It's dark in there. Can't see a thing. In I go. Anything useful in here? Rope. Add it to the... In I go. Anything useful in here? A deerskin blanket. A mother and child. Baby needs a blanket. The mother would get it herself, but she doesn't want to wake the baby. She's grateful for the deerskin blanket. Here's a baby rattle made from buffalo hide and bone. A brave. Pemmican is dried buffalo meat. I can have some if I bring him some water first. He's thirsty. A brave. He's grateful for the water. Says I can pluck some pemmican off the rack if I want some. Pemmican! I should drop this by the sacred buffalo rocks. A brave. He says he's willing to trade his buffalo hide moccasins for some rope. A brave. Awesome! He traded the moccasins for the rope. Better get these to the sacred buffalo rocks. The sacred, 2 more items, and these rocks will sing. The sacred buffalo rocks. The chief says we're almost done. Only 1 more buffalo item to find. That's the last item. Listen, the rocks are singing. It worked. The sacred buffalo rocks worked. The buffalo have returned. The chief has forgiven the railroad. Peace at last.
Don't you need a license to be this smart? Back near Truckee, it looks like 2 outlaws are hiding out. John Wesley Hardin and Jesse James. It's time to take them in for questioning. We'll get Hardin and James with a little help from the Dream Team. So, John Wesley Hardin and Jesse James are hiding out together in the train yard. Your mission? Catch Hardin and James before they do further harm to our railroad.
An engineer! This man's a hero. He discovered James and Hardin hiding out in one of the trains. You know what he did? He locked them in there. The train car we're looking for is northwest of the well. Train car! Think they're hiding in there? Remember, we own rats. The door's locked. I'll need to find the combination. Where's that engineer? Why didn't he say so in the first place? The combination is A, B, and then an odd number. Remember, we only have 1 chance to get him with the deputy star. Outlaw, where you be? Hardin, James, show your faces, now! All right, you two, your outlaw days are numbered.
This job plumb riles me.
Welcome back. Who? A question that's tough as nails. Answer my question, Hardin, and answer it now. Who's your boss?
Let's see. There's a C in his name.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. Where? Let's be tough as nails and see if that works. I hope you like your nice cold cell, John Wesley Hardin. You're going to grow old in there if you don't tell me where your boss lives.
Your artful interrogation wouldn't please my boss. He loves fine art.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. What? Tough as nails. Pay attention, Hardin. What does your boss look like?
He looks happy-go-lucky, like me.
Dodgy. I hate those. I'll record it anyway. Let's see who's full of hot air.
Helium? I can't stand helium.
All right. Let's see if that worked. How? Let's catch him off guard with a loco question. How mean are you anyway, Hardin?
I'm a mean robber like my boss. I heard him say the word steal when describing his work. I take it he's a thief too.
A true clue. I'll record it in the journal. 2. A polite question, huh? Mr. James, would you kindly tell me who your boss is?
Kindly? No, but I'll tell you anyways. The mastermind was born in this century.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. Let's see who's full of hot air.
Helium?
Now you just stop that. Stop that, I say!
Let's get back to the interrogation. Where? Let's see if being polite works. Mr. James, you can tell me where the mastermind lives, now can't you?
I think I can. Someone told me he lives in a northern state.
Dodgy. I hate those. I'll record it anyway. What? A polite question, huh? You seem like a reasonable person, Jesse. Please tell me what your boss looks like.
Last time I saw him, he was wearing a tie.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. How? Polite. Interested in better grub, Mr. James? I can make that happen. Now, tell me, how does your boss earn a living?
Here's a riddle for my vittles. His work is very safe.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. Don't outlaws need a license to be that ugly?
Hoorah! Nice going! We're almost there. All we have to do is build a promontory, and we won! Good thing, too. Our competition is tough. Building. Good! Start building from Elko, Nevada. And build all the way to Promontory, Utah, the end of the line. That's 240 miles away. Let's see how much money we have. $3,840,000. Not bad at all. Let's get building. Elko to Promontory. Your mission? Make it through the desert alive. The desert, home of snakes, scorpions, and sand. Or is it all mirage? Desert regions receive little or no rain. They can be blindingly hot during the day and bitterly cold at night. Desert regions are harsh, but folks still live in them. There's evidence that people have lived in the Utah desert for 10,000 years.
It usually rains less than 10 inches per year in the desert, and that's what keeps the plant life down to a minimum. With few plants around to grab onto the earth with their roots, the wind blows the sand into large dunes like these.
You show me a place that gets less than 10 inches of rain a year, and I'll show you a desert.
Not all deserts are hot, you know. Cold deserts, which are so icy that they never get any rain, cover 1/6 of the Earth's surface. Hot deserts like this one cover 1/5.
You can see some funny-looking rocks around here. The wind blows the sand at them so hard, they change shape.
Elko. Building starts from this boomtown on a cold February 8, 1869. 240 miles to Promontory, and you're done. Elko is now the center of all gold production in the country. It's also fast becoming the center for Nevada's huge range livestock empire. Powerful and colorful cattle ranchers rule over the Nevada range like kings. One of them, L.R. Broadhorns Bradley, was Nevada's second governor and its first cowboy governor.
This Civil War veteran's looking for a homestead. After the war, the government couldn't pay all the soldiers, so they gave them land in the West instead of money. By next year, the population will climb to 2,000.
Promontory, Utah. Make it to Promontory and you've won the race. A promontory like this one is a big piece of land overlooking or projecting into a lowland. This promontory is 10 miles long, 1,500 feet high, and terribly windy.
Here it is, our final destination.
Great Salt Lake Desert. There's a rumor that these 80 miles of waterless salt flats can be successfully crossed. Sounds good, but my mom always told me not to listen to rumors.
Maybe we should find an easier way, one with a saloon, maybe a few beds?
I ain't afraid of some big pile of salt. We'll make it.
The Great Salt Lake. Great Salt Lake has no fish in it, and it has a smooth, calm surface most of the time. The water in the Great Salt Lake is 6.5 times more dense than ocean water. That means you can't sink in it no matter how hard you try.
The early settlers said there was a whirlpool in the middle of the lake that trapped boaters. They say it ain't true, but I'm still not going swimming.
Some folks say a terrible monster with a huge head sometimes crawls out of the lake and gives a big old roar. Personally, I think some folks like to make up stories.
Heard a bunch of folks talking about some whales in the lake that swim to the Pacific Ocean in an underground tunnel. That's the biggest load of foo-for-ah I ever heard.
The Humboldt River is the only river in the whole area to run east-west, not north-south. I can walk across the Humboldt without getting the tops of my boots wet.
It has been estimated that of the 250,000 people who went west between 1840 and 1860, more than 200,000 of them came along the Humboldt River. It was the greatest peacetime emigration in history.
Ranches. This isn't the best route east, but the ranchers will make it worth your while to have the train go through these parts. The Dream Team has scoped out the situation. Better check in with them. Powerful and colorful cattle ranchers rule over the Nevada range like kings. One of them,
These ranchers are rounding up their cattle. They want us to build the railroad on their side of the Humboldt so they can have easy access to the trains.
We'll be building 2 bridges if we head up here, but I say it's worth it. Think of the money we'll make moving those cows.
Forget about it. If they want to ship their cattle, they can bring them to us. No sense changing the route so some ranchers don't have to get their boots dusty.
In these parts, whatever the ranchers say goes. Might be a good idea to keep them happy.
you'll meet a Shoshone scout who knows no English. Do you want to hire him? He can help us through this region, but we'll have to use sign language to communicate with him. Sarah can help. Before Europeans came to America, about 60,000 Shoshone lived here. That's all changing now. The U.S. signed treaties with the Shoshone in 1863 that allowed for homesteads, railroads, mining, and timber activities. Some say the Shoshone didn't know what they were getting themselves into. You meet many Shoshone do speak some English, but this scout does not. The Shoshone language is very different from English. That's led to trouble because the government's treaties with the Shoshone use some words that didn't even exist in their language.
You take your fists and you move them back and forth a few times. That'll send the right message.
You put your hand out, palm down. Then you swing it to the right and turn it over so your palm's facing up. I reckon that's the sign to use.
Here's a bit of sign language to help you out. The Shoshone hunt and gather in the summer and camp out by waterholes during the dry winters. In the spring and fall, the family groups get together for religious ceremonies.
You signed to the guy that you wanted to hire him as a scout. What do you offer him? Sarah has a Shoshone phrase book if you need it.
Here are some Shoshone words I've learned. Hope they help.
This is the only Shoshone I know, but it's enough. Tiv Hakwa.
I'm telling you, if we become their Tatakanti, we'll have ourselves a guide.
Doesn't matter where you are, a little Ohapue will get you a long way.
Good decision. The Shoshone accepts your money and agrees to be your guide. All right.
Money is the one thing most folks understand in any language.
Humboldt Wells, the most famous springs on the California Emigrant Trail. You save on water and collect $100,000. These springs, which are marshy spots and small ponds of water in the meadows, are the Humboldt Wells. Between 1845 and 1870, hundreds of wagons each year stopped here on the way through the Humboldt Valley. You can see wagon wheel tracks winding down to the springs from the north. Dry lake bed. This dry lake has some rushes growing at its north end. Over thousands of years, lakes can come and go. Some disappear because of a change in the weather, others because of erosion. Dry lake rushes are tall grass-like plants that often have hollow stems. They grow in places where there's plenty of water, at least for part of the year. The Shoshone use these rushes to make baskets and mats.
Rushes growing in a dry lake bed? There must be water in this lake bed sometime, or they wouldn't be here.
A dry lake? Now I've seen everything. What's next? A flat mountain?
Being underwater made the ground here nice and flat. So easy to build, I reckon you just throw a few rails on the ground and the train will build itself.
I saw them rushes at the north end of the lake bed. Must be water here sometime. Rushes don't grow on just hot air and sand.
Humboldt Wells. Steep hills. These hills are steep and grassy and will require blasting. If you don't blast, you can't make the road flat.
Ever notice that hills are rounder than mountains? Why do you think that is?
These high mountains may have gold or silver deposits. The only way to know it is to build here, though.
There may be water, and who knows, even gold in these mountains, but they sure are hard to climb.
These high mountains, great job! In mountains this tall, a tunnel's the only way to go. These high mountains may have gold or silver deposits. The only way to know it is to build here, though. Another tunnel, another... Pilot Peak. Pilot Peak is the last place to stock up on water for 90 miles. You need 800 gallons of water per mile. How much does that come out to anyway?
My math's are rusty, but I reckon 90 miles at 800 gallons per mile is just about 7,200 gallons.
Well, you carry the 7 plus the... Okay, 90 miles at 800 gallons per mile is 720,000 gallons.
Now let's see. 90 miles and 800 gallons of water per mile. By my figuring, that's 72,000 gallons of water.
Kit Carson, who was a famous expedition guide, found springs at the bottom of this mountain. Good choice. You brought just enough water for your men. That water will come in handy in that desert.
I had a dream once that one day there'll be a machine that can do math even faster than I can. No, that's impossible.
Warning! There are no lakes or streams ahead, so plan carefully. You'll need water. The Dream Team's been out looking for places with water. Thing is, they all disagree about where to find it.
Track laying in the desert is good in some ways, bad in others. The land's flat, so there's no blasting to do. But water for the men and steam engines is hard to come by.
I've scouted from here to the Great Salt Lake, and I saw 3 beautiful little oases that we can hit along the way. We'll be fine.
I saw a place out there where the water was just shimmering in the sand. I say we head there.
I'm telling you, the only water in these parts is what you see on the map.
Good choice. Wild Bill and Tomahawk were seeing mirages. Company bonus for not wasting time, $25,000. A mirage is an optical illusion where a person sees a body of water or an object that isn't there. A mirage happens when the ground gets so hot it makes a layer of super hot air just above it. Light passes through the cooler air above, hits the super hot air, and bounces off, just like light reflecting off a lake. Your eye sees the reflection and thinks there must be a lake there. Your Shoshone guide points to the camp and draws arrows going in opposite directions. What are you going to do? The Shoshone also makes the sign for fast fire, which means train.
Here are some pictograms I've seen the tribes use. Some of them are thousands of years old.
2 arrows pointing at each other. That means friends. If we build here, I bet they'll help us lay tracks.
2 arrows pointing at each other? That's a sign for war. We better get out of here fast.
The Shoshone meant war. But because you didn't build here, your guide says they will trade with you. Make them an offer. Maybe they'll let us build here.
Draw an X on the ground, and that'll show them we mean business.
We draw some flowers on the ground. That's the sign for something that'll make this situation better.
You draw a square without the bottom line, and that'll get us where we want to go.
Here are some pictograms I've seen the tribes use. Some of them are thousands of years old. Here are some pictograms.
The Shoshone accept your horses. You build peacefully through the region, and it only costs you $10,000.
A few good horses buys more than a heap of gold.
The Shoshone.
Here's a rare shot I was able to get of a very special animal skin.
The Shoshone in this area may be willing to let your railroad build without trouble. The U.S. dealt with the Shoshone people by dividing them into 5 groups. They signed treaties with each group in 1863. The 5 groups were the Western, Eastern, Northwestern, Lemhi, and Goshute. A treaty is an agreement between 2 groups of people or governments. The Shoshone agreed to allow mining, logging, and the railroad on their land. The Shoshone say that when they signed the treaty, they didn't imagine so many people would come and live on their land. They have a point.
Here's a rare shot I was able to get of a very special animal skin. The pictures show the history of Shoshone Chief Washaki's different battles.
Terrace. Terrace is the biggest little city between here and Promontory. The town of nearly 1,000 people has got a roundhouse, a machine shop, and all sorts of businesses. It also has plenty of water.
Plans are brewing in Terrace for an 8-track switchyard, along with hotels, a saloon justice of the peace, and a library bathhouse. Just think, you'll be able to get a drink when you're in the courthouse and take a bath while you're in the library.
Terrace. Terrace is the biggest little city between here and Promontory. You stock up on water and save $100,000. Dry lake bed. No surface water ahead. Do you want to bring water or find water?
The locals haul water by dragging barrels across the ground. At least we have train cars we can use, if we decide to bring in water, that is.
For $100,000, we can set ourselves up to bring water in from Elko. It's a lot of money, but it's a heck of a lot more certain than hunting for water in a desert. Faster, too.
To bring water with you, you'll have to haul it in big barrels on train cars. It could get expensive. Dry.
For $200,000, we can find water. I've spent time in the mountains round here, and I reckon there's water under them. If we find it and dig us a well, we'll be set forever.
To find water, have your engineers cut into the sides of the nearby mountains. If they find a freshwater spring, they can bring water in long pipes to the track bed. Dry lake bed. You find water and spend $200,000 building pipelines. You collect $300,000 in savings. To find water, have your engineers cut into the sides of the nearby mountains.
I had a good feeling about those mountains. Of course, I got a good feeling about almost all mountains.
Your Shoshone guide draws the sign for lightning, then a vertical line, a dot, and a sun. What are you going to do? I don't like the sound of that.
Here are some pictograms I've seen the tribes use. Some of them are thousands of years old.
What's that guide going on about? So there was a storm in this area yesterday. Let's build.
Lightning? With all these metal rails around, that could be dangerous. Let's find a low place and wait for the storm to pass.
I say we get another day of work in. Little bit of wet never hurt no one.
The next day, a storm hits, but your workers are safe. Company bonus, $50,000.
In a lightning storm, it's best to keep low and stay away from metal.
These salt flats have high winds and no water, except in the winter. These salt flats used to be a lake way back during the last ice age, about 15,000 years ago. You can see where the different shorelines were as the lake got smaller and smaller. The salt surface contains potassium, magnesium, lithium, and sodium chloride. Sodium chloride's the scientific name for common table salt.
I tasted a bit of that white rock, and it's salt, all right. Tons and tons of salt. Now, if we get ourselves about 1 million steaks to go with it, we got ourselves a meal.
There's not so much as a big rock in the way for miles across these flats. I don't like the sound of those winds, though.
There's an accident on the train tracks. Getting more water costs you $50,000. Our water supplies spill out over the salt flats. That was the most expensive couple. Big storms flood the salt flats and wash out the tracks. Nice go!
Building.
Elko to... You meet a Shoshone scout who need a Shoshone. You signed to the guy that you wanted to hire. Good to see. Humboldt Wells. These high mountains make... Pilot Peak. Good choice. Warning. There are no lakes or streams ahead. Good choice. Your Shoshone guide points the Shoshone man. The Shoshone Terrace. Dry lake bed. Dry lake. Your Shoshone guide. The next day, a storm. Building across this part of the salt flats turns out to be easy because there are no hills. You make record time. Company bonus, $50,000. We made record time, thank you very much. High winds across the salt flats destroy your worker camps. Cost to rebuild, $25,000. Promontory, Utah. Congratulations! You've made it all the way to the end. Draggle-tailed gutter snipe! My pencil just broke. The company! The brakeman operates the brakes and helps out in switching tracks. The engineer operates the locomotive. The surveyor decides on the best route of the railroad by examining the land and taking careful measurements. The chief engineer is in charge of engineering the entire railroad. Another suspect has been spotted back near Wadsworth. We need to question him if we want to identify the mastermind. Question him, and we're done! Geronimo is somewhere in this Native American village. Your mission is to find him and bring him in for questioning. Don't treat him harshly, though. I don't think he's sabotaging our railroad. But he may have information that will help us solve the mystery of the Golden Spike.
The chief! He says Geronimo is hiding in one of the teepees. Talk to the Braves in front of the teepees, and they'll let you know where he is. Beware, the Braves with the feathers on their backs are from a secret warrior society. They speak back. He says go west. Go east. He says go west. Go north. He says Geronimo's not in here. Outlaw! Geronimo! Come out of there! He ran to another teepee. Let's find him. He says go west. Go east. He's south of here. Go north. He says Geronimo's in here. Outlaw, where you be? Geronimo, come out of there. All right, Geronimo, you may be innocent, but we're taking you in.
There's more under my hat than hair. If I had a hat, that is.
I'm fired up. 2. Let's see if being polite works. I've heard that the Apaches are an honest people. So honestly, who's trying to destroy the railroad?
Unlike my people, he was probably born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
A dodgy clue. Useless. Look who's talking now.
You think this is funny? Do I amuse you?
Let's get where? A polite question, huh? Mr. Geronimo, let's make this easy on ourselves. Where does the mastermind live?
I have no doubt his land was once Apache land.
False, huh? I'll make a record of it. Look who's talking now.
I'm not finding this helium at all amusing.
That'll teach what? A polite question, huh? Let's keep things simple. What does the mastermind look like?
Like all men, he probably wears moccasins.
Not true. I'll record it in the journal. Look who's talking now.
You think this is funny? Do I amuse you?
Better now? How? Let's see if being polite works. Mr. Geronimo, I'd be grateful if you'd tell me how the mastermind makes a living.
As with many men from the East, his trade is firewater sold in saloons. That's what they all do, it seems.
False, huh? I'll make a record of it. So which one's the mastermind? J.P. Morgan. Compare the clues on this list to the who information on this mastermind. Compare them to the what information on this mastermind. Compare the where clues to the where information. Check the box. You may not need all the clues to tell whether or not this is the mastermind. Guilty. You did it! J.P. Morgan is the mastermind.
Mastermind, surrender that golden spike!
The golden spike mystery is solved!
We got him! The golden spike! Victory is ours!
Jack, we did it!
All ready now. It's time to drive the final spike. The telegraph signal sent round the world will be 3 dots for the commencement of the blows. 1, 2, 3. The Golden Spike Ceremony. The country is united. We're right on track for future glory. Engineering. We'll be starting in Pine Bluffs and running this train to Rollins. 190 miles away. At $32,000 per mile, the government's given us $3,400,000. All right, let's build ourselves a railroad. Pine Bluffs to Rollins. Difficult mountains ahead. Your mission: use your skills at trading to find the best route across. There's trading to do? Well, there are plenty of places to trade in these parts. Trading posts have been set up for the homesteaders and immigrants coming through on the way out west.
Trading posts like this one are few and far between. Take advantage of them. Be careful though, or they'll take advantage of you.
Trading? All that talking gives me a headache. Give me a deck of cards and a saloon, and I'll get us what we need.
Way I see it, it's best we trade early. It's a long way to Rollins, and I reckon we should be ready for whatever comes our way.
All sorts of folks in these parts, and they'll all be wanting something from us. If you're doing any trading, think about what those folks need.
The Laramie Mountains are made up of granite. They can be steep and difficult to cross. Granite is a strong igneous rock used for buildings and monuments.
These mountains were named after the French fur trapper who lived in these parts, Jacques Laramie.
Medicine Bow Mountains. These mountains are difficult to cross, but have valuable wood. The Arapaho and Cheyenne like to gather here for powwows. A powwow is a Native American traditional gathering. The whole tribe meets together to dance, sing, visit with each other, and celebrate.
At the powwow, the women of the tribe dance a special dance called a buckskin. It's a smooth, flowing dance done with fans and fine, handcrafted buckskin dresses with bead designs. I wish I had one of them dresses.
The powwow singing gets started by the head singer, who lets everyone know what song is coming. The drum comes in next, and then the singers. Last, the dancers start dancing. All I know is, it is something to see.
These mountains are difficult to cross, but may have gold or silver in them. The Laramie River is wide and shallow. The banks on both sides have high bluffs. The river is wide and shallow. The banks on both sides have high bluffs.
Depending on how high the water is, there are different islands in the North Platte River.
Lodgepole Creek. Veda Vu Stone Formations. The name means earthborn spirit. The Arapaho think the rocky place is sacred and filled with spirits. Arapaho, eh? Maybe we can trade. The Arapaho men have 7 warrior societies. The first is called the Kit Fox Society, for boys under 25 years old. We may come across some of the Kit Fox Society on our way through here. Veda Vu is known for its unusually shaped pedestal rocks, which are made of 1.43 billion-year-old granite.
This place gives me the creeps. The coyotes are sneakier, the antelope are bigger and faster, and the wind sounds like it's talking to you. Stay away!
The Pawnee, Kiowa, and Comanche call the Arapaho a name that means he buys or trades. The Arapaho help the other tribes trade with each other. I guess that's what they do best.
The Arapaho believe in something called reincarnation. Let's say a baby is born with a birthmark or wrinkles. They believe that an old person who also had those marks died and is being born again.
Veda Vu is known for its...
Arapaho boys prepared to join the Kit Fox Society by learning the appropriate songs and dances. They learned how to wrestle and race each other on foot and on horseback.
Mysterious Cache. A large rock reads, Pour Henri Lefebvre. This cache is a landmark that may offer clues for safe passage through here.
What's this word poor? Was he poor? If so, we may not want to dig here. There won't be any treasure.
Trapper's Cabin. Locals say this abandoned cabin has a map to a secret gold mine. But there are grizzly bears in the area. The locals stay clear of this cabin. Fur trappers and mountain men were the first to explore the West over 60 years ago. Most of them are long gone. Fur trapping was big after President Jefferson bought the Louisiana Territory from the French. Trappers, grizzly bears can run as fast as horses, uphill or downhill. They can also climb trees, although black bears are better tree climbers than grizzly bears.
There are 50 to 100,000 grizzly bears roaming around North America. Some say that number will fall once our railroad brings more people out west. I guess trains aren't such a good thing for everyone.
I ain't scared of no grizzlies. Well, I am, but I love treasure so much it kind of cancels out the fear.
Laramie, Wyoming. In 1866, the first permanent settlement in Laramie was built. There's a fort and trading post here. In the 1820s, a trapper named Jacques Laramie built his cabin near the Laramie and Platte rivers. The fort and nearby mountains were named after him.
Fort Laramie is in this area. They built it to protect immigrants and settlers from Indian attacks.
Some say this area is ripe for mining. Nobody's found gold or silver, but you never know, and I got a good feeling about these mountains.
They're thinking of opening a prison in Laramie to keep the outlaws off the streets. I say they just put bars on the windows of the saloon on a Saturday night and call that the jail.
The main surveyor for the railroad, General Grenville Dodge, is the one who named Laramie after Jacques Laramie. Jacques is an old friend of mine and a darn good fur trapper.
Building begins in Pine Bluffs in October of 1867. Thanks to the railroad, Pine Bluffs is fast becoming an important cow town. For early Native Americans crossing the Western Plains, Pine Bluffs provided ideal campsites. Building begins. Pine Bluffs is an important watering place along the Texas Trail. Cattle ranchers from all over move their herds through here on the way to market. Since we brought the train in, more cattle are shipped from this point than from any other.
After long months on the trail, cowboys love to hit the town. They take a bath, shave, put on new jeans, and drink, drink, drink. Forget fistfights. Most cowboys use guns and knives when they fight.
A cow town? That's a place where ranchers bring their cattle to ship them out on the railroad. Folks come in from the cities and buy whole herds to send back to Chicago or New York. It's a lot of steaks.
Cowboys are always getting into trouble in these cow towns. After months of hard work herding cattle, they let off steam by drinking and gambling. At least most of them take a bath for once.
You won't catch me in a saloon. Lonesome cowboys paying $1 to dance with a girl. And the gambling. I saw a cowboy gamble away his ranch, his cattle, and even his family.
Rawlins, Wyoming. This outpost in Wyoming was named after General Rawlins. It's 190 miles from Pine Bluffs. General Rawlins led the soldiers that protected the railroad survey crew. One day when he was very ill, a soldier brought him a drink from a cool, fresh stream here. Rawlins, the first settlers in Wyoming, came with the fur trade. More came along when folks started settling in the West. In 1868, the government made Wyoming a territory, with Cheyenne as the capital. You get an urgent telegram from some German homesteaders. What message do you want to send them? It says they're under attack and want your help. Must be Indians. Sarah has a book of Morse code. The Homestead Act of 1862 said every settler could buy 160 acres of land for just $10. Most pioneer kids never had the chance to go to school.
Here's Morse code. Use it to figure out what the message says.
Indians attacking? Sounds like them settlers need us something fierce. On the other hand, if we go running off fighting everybody's wars, we could end up broke or dead.
It may be a trick. Sometimes settlers trick you into coming to their settlement so they can sell you stuff. If we don't go, though, and they're telling the truth, them settlers could be in real trouble.
Good decision. Turns out the homesteaders were lying about the Indian attack. They only wanted to trade.
Settlers in these parts might not see travelers for a long time. When they see the chance to make a few greenbacks, they get a little crazy.
Trapper's Cabin. Locals say this abandoned cabin has a map to a secret gold mine. But there could be trouble from the grizzly bears in the area. If they attack your workers, what should they do?
I'll tell you what I'd do if I saw a grizzly. I'd be up a tree so fast the squirrels would eat my dust.
Here's the way I see it. The place where the bear is, that's the place you don't want to be. I'd say run!
Well, seems to me that a grizzly wouldn't see much point in killing you if it thought you were already dead. I'd lie down and look so dead, the bear would be calling the coffin maker for me.
Good idea. Your workers are safe from grizzly attacks and discover a map in the cabin showing a secret gold mine in the Sierra Madres. Here, watch closely, and I'll point it out. Veda Vu stone formations. Near these strange rock formations, what would you like to trade with the boy from the Kit Fox Society?
I say we give him money. He might be a warrior, but he's still a kid, and kids love money.
If he's on a mission all alone, let's give him a compass so he can find his way. That's what I'd want.
Give the boy a rifle to take back to his people. Hunting folks can always use another rifle.
The boy rejects your gun. This is a huge loss, since he could have shown you the easiest passage through the Laramie Mountains. As a proud Kit Fox, he says it's far nobler to hunt with a bow and arrow.
Kids today.
Pine Bluffs is engineering. Will be Pine Bluffs. You get an good. Trappers, good idea. The Laramie Mountains are made up of granite. They can be steep and difficult to cross. Whew, we made it through the mountain, but I've just about had it with carrying rocks. Cave-in! A tunnel cave-in ruins 3 weeks of work. Luckily, no one is injured.
These mountains were named after...
Laramie, Wyoming. By the time the first passenger train arrived in Laramie, the city already had 23 saloons, 1 hotel, and no churches. Business is booming. You collect $100,000. That's what we get for building near a trading post and a fort.
Some say this area is ripe for mining. Nobody's found gold or silver, but you never know, and I got a good feeling about these mountains.
They're thinking of opening a prison in Laramie to keep the outlaws off the streets.
The Laramie River is wide and shallow. Good bridge choice. Strong and not too expensive. Medicine Bow Mountains. Whew, we made it through the mountain, but I've just about had it with carrying rocks. Trees. There are excellent trees for railroad ties and fuel. Do you want to cut them down?
The Indians like these trees for a reason. It's just about the best wood I ever seen.
The trees here are just about the best when it comes to making weapons. The Native Americans believe they're filled with good medicine.
Not cutting down trees in this powwow area was a good decision. You spent $50,000 to ship in wood, but it would have cost more to try to cut down the trees.
I'm not sure what good medicine means, but it sure sounds like something you don't want to mess around with.
The river is wide and shallow. Good bridge choice. Strong and not too expensive. Hungry bears raid your workers' food supplies.
If you ever get caught by a bear, Tomahawk says to roll into a ball and cover your head with your hands.
These mountains are difficult to cross. Whew, we made it through the mountain, but I've just about had it with carrying rocks. You find gold! The fur trapper's map was correct. A secret gold mine in the Sierra Madres earns you $300,000. Rollins, Wyoming. The locals are so happy to have the train here. There are celebrations for days at this outpost in Wyoming.
Don't you need a license to be this smart?
It's now 1868. Everybody this year is reading Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Have you read it yet?
Americans are a fashionable bunch these days, now that sewing machines let the ladies make their own clothes.
Dinner is served. The first Pullman dining car, offering train passengers luxurious meals, just hit the tracks. This year, kids all over America are playing Milton Bradley's The Checkered Game of Life board game, risking things like jail and poverty for the chance at wealth and happiness. The first U.S. parade with floats rolled down the streets of Mobile, Alabama this year. Hey, world record! An Hawaiian surfed on the highest wave ever this year. It was a 50-foot tidal wave. It's now 1860. Just got word of a panic in Lexington. An outlaw is about to bomb one of our bridges. We're there!
That sounded like a bomb. I hope the bridge is okay.
Lexington, Nebraska.
There's water down there. He's shaken up, but alive. It's the engineer. We need to repair that bridge. First things first. He says find a chain and pull the locomotive back from the cliff. A worker says the chain's inside a box in the tent, but the box is locked. He telegraphed to the next station to find out the combination. We better go to the telegraph box and figure out the combination. The telegraph. The telegram has the combination. Better figure out the Morse code and open that box up. Let's go. Worker tent. A locked box. The lock. It's open. A chain. It's the cook. Says there's an apple inside his tent if I need it. Worker tent. Apples. Chains in place. All I need to do is back this baby up and we're home free. Into forward gear. That puts the locomotive in neutral. Into reverse gear. The throttle is open. The train's safe. Now it's time to rebuild the bridge. Better ask the engineer what needs to get done. It's the engineer! He says get the tie layers. They're in charge of laying the wooden railroad ties. Tie layers! They can't work until the horse moves their ties to the bridge. If only I had something a horse likes to eat, I could lure him over to the bridge. Get along now! That's a good boy. Now the tie layers can get to work. It's the engineer! It's the engineer! He says get the spike drivers. They're in charge of spiking the rails. It's the spike drivers! They're out of spikes. We better telegraph to get some more. The telegraph. Better type in the Morse code for spikes. Click on the dashes and dots to spell out the word letter by letter. Here come the spikes. Spikes. Better hand them to the spike drivers. It's the spike drivers. There they go. Let's head back to the bridge and see how they're doing. It's the engineer. He says get the spike driver. It's the engineer! Look, they're fixing the bridge. Look, the bridge, it's fixed. The trains can run again. Yee-haw!
Draggle-tailed gutter snipe! My pencil just broke. Back near Columbus, someone spotted not one outlaw, but two. John Wesley Hardin and Jesse James. Looks like we can capture two for the price of one. We'll get Hardin and James with a little help from the Dream Team. Back near Columbus, someone spotted not one. We'll get. So, John Wesley Hardin and Jesse James are hiding out together in the train yard. Your mission? Catch Hardin and James before they do further harm to our railroad.
An engineer! This man's a hero! He discovered James and Hardin hiding out in one of the trains. Know what he did? He locked them in there. The train car we're looking for is southeast of the well. I'll sniff him. Drats, the door's locked. I'll need to find the combination. Where's that engineer? Why didn't he say so in the first place? The combination is B, A, and then an even number. I'll sniff him out. Hardin, James, show your faces now. All right, you two. Your outlaw days are numbered.
There's more under my hat than hair. If I had a hat, that is.
Outlaw interrogation. 2. Let's be tough as nails and see if that works. Answer my question, Hardin. And answer it now. Who's your boss?
Let's see. There's a C in his name.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. This'll teach ya.
Helium? I can't stand helium.
That'll teach ya. Where? Let's be tough as nails and see if that works. I hope you like your nice cold cell, John Wesley Hardin. You're going to grow old in there if you don't tell me where your boss lives.
Your artful interrogation wouldn't please my boss. He loves fine art.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. Did somebody say helium?
Helium Hardin, they'll call me. This ain't funny.
All right. What? Let's be tough as nails and see if that works. Pay attention, Hardin. What does your boss look like?
He looks happy-go-lucky, like me.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. How? Tough as nails. Explain how your boss makes a living, or it will be more bread and water for a week.
Shows how much you know.
Dang. How? How? Loco question. It'll drive 'em nuts. How mean are you anyway, Hardin?
I'm a mean robber like my boss. I heard him say the word steal when describing his work. I take it he's a thief too.
True. I'll mark it in the journal. 2. A polite question, huh? Mr. James, would you kindly tell me who your boss is?
Kindly? No, but I'll tell you anyways. The mastermind was born in this century.
Dodgy. I hate those. I'll record it anyway. This'll teach ya.
Helium! Turn off that helium!
Let's get back to the Where? Polite. Mr. James, you can tell me where the mastermind lives. Now can't you?
I think I can. Someone told me he lives in a northern state.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. Let's see who's full of hot air.
Helium?
Now you just stop that! Stop that, I say!
That'll teach him. What? Let's see if being polite works. You seem like a reasonable person, Jesse. Please tell me what your boss looks like.
Last time I saw him, he was wearing a tie.
Dodgy. I'll put that in the journal anyway. How? Polite. Interested in better grub, Mr. James? I can make that happen. Now, tell me, how does your boss earn a living?
Here's a riddle for my vittles. His work is very safe.
A dodgy clue. Useless. You know how you can tell an outlaw's lying? Their lips are moving.
Nice going! We're almost there. We're almost there. All we have to do is build a promontory, and we won! Check out that one! Check out that one! Check out that lazy bones competition. Building. Good! Start building from Rollins, Wyoming. And we won't stop building until we hit Promontory, Utah, the end of the line. That's 350 long miles away. Let's see how much money we have. $5,600,000. Not bad at all. Let's get building. Rollins to Promontory. Your mission? Make it through the desert alive and keep your workers happy. There's plenty of sand, but this won't be a day at the beach. Desert regions receive little or no rain. They can be blindingly hot during the day and bitterly cold at night.
It usually rains
Altitude like a mountain. That's why it's cold. The Red Desert contains lots of strange landforms. There are red-bottomed desert lakes dotted with bright green greasewood. There are badlands where it looks like the rocks are painted. There are ancient volcanoes, shifting sand dunes, and fossils from an ancient inland sea. Mysterious stones. Locals have found strange stones here with sparkling colors. They change color and flash as you turn them in your hand. Sounds like those are either some strange stones or some strange people. Burning rock. Some locals say this oil shale will burn if you set a match to it. Oil shale is a sedimentary rock that's greasy to the touch and produces oil when heated. Sedimentary rock forms at the bottom of oceans and lakes. Sediment is dirt and mud that squeezes together hard enough to make rock. Green River. The Green River runs very fast and has a sandy bottom. Wasatch Mountains. You finally hit the dreaded Rocky Mountains. Avalanche region here. The Rockies are the biggest mountain system in the West. They stretch for 3,000 miles from New Mexico to Alaska. Until we got here, the Rockies made it hard to travel across the continent.
Wasatch in the Ute language means mountain pass or low pass over high range.
The Wasatch have a whole mess of canyons. They're made by little streams that cut right into the rock, if you give them enough time.
Wasatch and avalanche happens when a mass of snow and ice falls down a mountainside. Some of the trees around here were snapped in half by avalanches. 1,000-mile tree. Surveyors tell you that this tree marks exactly 1,000 miles from Omaha. Building here may just cheer up our tired workers. After all, they've built 1,000 miles of track. Grassland. Wild horses and antelope roam freely in these parts. The ancestors of these horses escaped from Spanish explorers hundreds of years ago. They're valuable to the Indians. If you can catch them, you'll have to decide whether to keep them as part of your supplies or trade them to the Cheyenne and Arapaho. Grassland, the workers will eat well if they can catch a few antelope. Don't overhunt though, or the grass will become overgrown and there will be fires. Evanston, Wyoming. The town was named for the railroad surveyor, James A. Evans.
Harvey Booth. Now there's a great humanitarian. He started up a saloon in these parts and made gambling possible for folks like us. There were nothing to do around here at night before Harvey Booth.
Harvey Booth runs a saloon and restaurant on Front Street. It was the first building in Evanston, even if it wasn't much more than a canvas tent with a wood floor. Now there's a roundhouse, a machine shop, and all sorts of businesses.
As its capital. It's been my favorite territory since 1869, when the Wyoming Territory government passed a law to let women vote. They must be doing something right.
The Great Salt Lake. Great Salt Lake has no fish in it, and it has a smooth, calm surface most of the time. The water in the Great Salt Lake is 6.5 times more dense than ocean water. That means you can't sink in it no matter how hard you try. Promontory, Utah. Make it to Promontory and you've won the race.
Here it is, our final destination.
Burning rock. Some locals say this oil shale will burn if you set a match to it.
Lighting rocks on fire? I reckon there's better things to do with our time.
Probably not a good idea to play with fire in these parts. It's dry. Green River. The Green River runs very fast. Excellent choice. These famous hot springs may draw people to this area. Do you want to build a station here? If so, what kind?
A station really only needs a telegraph office, but most have some kind of station and sidings to allow trains to pass on by. A roundhouse is good in a train yard when you need to turn trains around and ship
railroad is connecting to ours, and we're making a bundle. Evanston, Wyoming. Supply station here. You stock up on water and save $100,000 in the long run. Grassland. Wild horses and antelope roam freely in these parts. What do you want to do?
These wild horses are descendants of the horses originally introduced into this area by Spanish explorers.
Hunting a few antelope will mean meat for the workers, and it'll save us a nice pile of greenbacks.
We're too close to Promontory to get sidetracked now. Let's build!
Handsomely for them. You collect $10,000.
These wild
Wasatch Mountains. Tunneling is tough, but it's the only way through here. Avalanche. Blasting tunnels causes an avalanche. No one is injured, but digging out takes weeks. Wasatch Mountains. Great job! In mountains this tall, a tunnel's the only way to go. Avalanche! Nice go! Building! Good! Rollins! Falling water and supplies. Warning! There are good decisions. Good choice. Your workers are sick of building. Green River. Excellent. Evanston, these famous hot springs. You're in luck. Wasatch Mountain. Tunneling. Coal fields. There's coal all over the place here and very little wood. Do you want to try to convert your locomotives so that they're fueled by coal?
I say we convert to coal. Shipping wood to burn in the steam engines costs too much. Coal's the fuel of the future.
The lack of wood in this area means converting to coal saves you money. You collect $300,000 in the long run. 1,000-mile tree. This tree marks exactly 1,000 miles from Omaha. Nice going! Building. Start Rollins. Falling water. Warning. Good decision. Stock up. Good. Red Desert. Green River. Excellent. Evanston, Wasatch Mountains. Avalanche. 1,000-mile. Nice going! Bill. Rollins, your workers are sick of warning. There are no lakes or good. Red Desert. Green River. Good. Evanston, Wyoming. Wasatch Mountain. Tunneling. Avalanche. 1,000-mile. Promontory, Utah. Congratulations! You've made it all the way to the end. Some drink from the fountain of knowledge. Some just gargle. It's now 1869. A hotel in Boston just became the first ever to have indoor plumbing. What's a root beer? Sounds healthy. Well, anyway, Charles Elmer Hires sold his first root beer this year. 1869. Ulysses Grant was inaugurated as U.S. President this year. The waffle iron was invented this year. Yeah, and so, look out! People this year are starting to talk about creating reform schools for bad kids. Sarah? Another suspect has been spotted back near North Platte. We need to question him if we want to identify the mastermind. They laid 6 miles of track in one day near Winnemucca. That's pretty amazing.
I smell real competition here. CP workers were lured by the mines. Must be hard to keep them working on the railroad when silver lies so near.
Question him, and we're done. Geronimo is somewhere in this Native American village. Your mission is to find him and bring him in for questioning. Don't treat him harshly, though. I don't think he's sabotaging our railroad. But he may have information that will help us solve the mystery of the Golden Spike.
The chief! He says Geronimo is hiding in one of the teepees. Talk to the braves in front of the teepees, and they'll let you know where he is. Beware, the braves with the feathers on their backs are from a secret warrior society. They speak backwards and always say the opposite of what they mean. Go east. He says go west. Go north. He says go west. Go north. He says Geronimo's not in here. I'll sniff. Geronimo! Come out of there! He ran to another teepee. Let's find him. He says go west. Go east. He's south of here. Go north. He says Geronimo's in here. I'll sniff him out. Geronimo! Come out of there! All right, Geronimo. You may be innocent, but we're taking you in.
Statistics show that there are more outlaws in the West than anything else, except rattlesnakes.
Let me at 'em. 2. Let's see if being polite works. I've heard that the Apaches are an honest people. So honestly, who's trying to destroy the railroad?
Unlike my people, he was probably born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Dodgy. I hate those. I'll record it anyway. Where? Let's see if being polite works. Mr. Geronimo, let's make this easy on ourselves. Where does the mastermind live?
I have no doubt his land was once Apache land.
False. What a useful liar. I'll mark it in the journal. What? A polite question, huh? Let's keep things simple. What does the mastermind look like?
Like all men, he probably wears moccasins.
Not true. I'll record it in the journal. How? A polite question, huh? Mr. Geronimo, I'd be grateful if you'd tell me how the mastermind makes a living.
As with many men from the East, his trade is firewater sold in saloons. That's what they all do, it seems.
False, huh? I'll make a record of it. I wonder who did it. J.P. Morgan. Compare the clues on this list to the who information on this mastermind. Compare them to the what information on this mastermind. If they all add up, put a check mark in the blank box. Compare the where clues to the where information. Check the box. You may not need all the clues to tell whether or not this is the mastermind. guilty. You did it. J.P. Morgan is the mastermind.
Mastermind, surrender that golden spike!
The golden spike mystery is solved.
We got him! The golden spike. Victory is ours!
Jack, we did it.
All ready now. It's time to drive the final spike. The telegraph signal sent round the world will be 3 dots for the commencement of the blows. 1, 2, 3. The Golden Spike Ceremony. The country is united. We're right on track for future glory. Good to see you, friend. Good to